Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening. Newly obtained documents under Right to Information have revealed the first 5 sites which could be on the chopping block for logging in Tasmania's northeast. Environmental groups are concerned it could spell disaster for threatened species, plants and Aboriginal heritage values if the plans go ahead.
3 months following the revelation of 27 sites the government considered opening to the logging industry, a second stack of Right to Information papers has narrowed down the first 5 that could face the axe.
These forests are incredibly special. They should be properly protected.
The Wilderness Society believes they're in Second River, Mount Arthur, South Barrow, Ragged Jack South and Nile River, adding up to nearly 10,000 hectares, sparking concerns about the impact on threatened species such as the swift parrot and vegetation.
The biodiversity is incredibly precious. We're not just talking about regional significance, we're not talking about national significance, we're talking about forests that are globally important.
Palawa elder Jim Everett fears Indigenous heritage values would also be put at risk.
Aboriginal heritage is those forests. It's not just what you find in caves and in middens. Those forests are our heritage, and that's the most important thing to think about.
The government aiming to make good on its election promise to fast-track up to 40,000 hectares of native forest for logging to bolster the forestry industry, which it says supports more than 5,000 jobs. But any plans would need to pass through Parliament.
We're especially calling on Labor and the crossbench to come out and defend these forests.
The opposition isn't ruling out siding with the Liberals.
Labor isn't interested in reopening the forestry wars. We will take every policy and every issue and we'll look at it in its detail.
A government spokesperson says a number of assessments need to take place before a final decision is made on what will be brought before Parliament. The Tasmanian Forest Products Association has been contacted for comment. Anthony Dodd, 7 Tasmania News.
The new Tasmanian Devils mascot Ramen might need to work a little harder at getting everyone on board, with the terrapin puppet sparking some amusing reactions online. It has mainlanders a little confused, with some calling it a piñata, too scary, or even the ray gun of mascots, while others have taken a shining, appreciating the way it embodies Tasmania. The puppet took 9 months and more than 400 hours to make and will visit schools across Tasmania over the coming weeks. And with the recent excitement building around the Devils, the team is hinging on one very important piece of the puzzle. The Macquarie Point Stadium is currently awaiting a decision from the Tasmanian Planning Commission, while remedial works are well underway to get the site prepared.
It's meant to be finished in time for the 2029 AFL season, but looking at the site, it's difficult to picture this turning into a state-of-the-art stadium. Yet those in the hot seat are confident it'll come to fruition.
Tassies have always batted well above our weight in everything we do and will continue to do so with this project as well.
The proposal is currently in the hands of the Tasmanian Planning Commission, expected to deliver its decision in 6 months. Even if approved by the Commission, it'll still need sign-off by both houses of Parliament. Remedial work is already underway at Macquarie Point, including relocating the wastewater treatment plant.
Upgrading in power, diverting any utilities that are in the way, so we have full flexibility to develop this site.
The state government reiterating its cut of the bill, $375 million and not a cent more. $15 million from the league, and private investment is meant to cover the shortfall.
There has been an enormous level of private interest from private investors.
But if granted the tick of approval, the stadium isn't going to build itself, with up to 3,000 workers needed for construction.
The opportunities for Tasmanians to work on major projects are rare, so these sort of projects are significant for us.
There'll be definitely a lot of people ready to throw their hats in the ring and try and get some work on this job.
But for now, the site remains sparse, while the clock ticks down.
If we do not have this stadium, we do not have a team.
Lily Thompson, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania Police are on the hunt for an anonymous tipster who helped them uncover $140,000 worth of stolen property in Greater Hobart. The caller was given a unique code they can now use to claim reward money.
From cosmetics to confectionery, it's quite the spread, but there's nothing sweet about this haul.
Approximately $140,000 worth of alleged stolen property.
Police say the goods were swiped during recent shoplifting trips and robberies in the Greater Hobart area.
A 31-year-old female has been charged and is going to appear in court in June.
An anonymous tip-off helping Tasmania Police sniff out the beauty bandit.
The information that they provided was the key to Tasmania Police executing a search warrant and being able to seize the property.
Crime Stoppers now calling on that person to come forward and claim their reward.
Crime Stoppers Tasmania offers rewards of up to $2,000, which are determined by an independent board of directors.
The organisation says a simple phone call can prove pivotal, often providing the missing piece of the puzzle.
Any information that people think police need to be aware of, they can forward on to Crime Stoppers.
Names, addresses, descriptions, locations, even photographs if you have them.
Crime Stoppers receives around 23 calls a day, covering everything from drug trafficking, theft and wanted persons. Reminding the public even the smallest bit of information could lead to a big bust. Rebecca Gaidaneris, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania's bus union says the government should focus on keeping drivers safe rather than privatising Metro, claiming that would lead to a reduction in services and higher fares. It follows a recent spate of attacks on staff, with the government yet to implement protective screens and transit officers to keep workers safe.
There's been a huge increase in assaults and attempted robberies out on the road. We saw a very serious attack on a bus driver on Saturday night where the bus driver was hospitalised.
Any attacks on our hard-working bus drivers who are providing a community services to our community each and every day is just absolutely appalling behaviour.
A government spokesperson says it's currently working on rolling out protective measures to ensure staff safety. Tasmanian public hospitals have adopted a new alert system, making it easier for doctors to pass on life-saving information about a patient's medical condition. Unions welcome the new system, but say there are bigger issues which also need addressing.
With hundreds of people moving through the Royal Hobart every week, reporting patient information has proved a complicated process in the past.
We were required to enter the alerts onto a paper-based system and then hand them on to clerical staff who had the access to enter those onto the patient records.
A new online system giving medical professionals access to a range of information instantly. Doctors and nurses also able to update a patient's record during treatment.
Flag up to staff patients' medical conditions, it'll show up any allergies, it'll show if there are falls risk.
More and more alerts have been recorded since the program was implemented in November, increasing on average from 580 per week to nearly 1,000.
It means that information flows with the patient and it can follow them wherever they go within the health system, so that it replaces that paper-based process.
While welcoming the modernisation, unions say more could be done to address bigger issues plaguing Tasmania's hospitals.
We need to see an overhaul of our health system around bed block, around ramping, and the government is ignoring that issue and seems to be looking at other small little projects that are fine, but they're not fixing the problem.
Attracting and retaining workers a key concern moving forward, with the public system on the cusp of its hiring freeze.
Nearly all the announcements the government have made around staff are simply replacing staff that have already left, and we know that there's budget cuts through the efficiency dividend ahead of us, and we're really concerned about that.
Ruby Cairns, 7 Tasmania News.
New images showing what the North West Regional Hospital's upcoming mental health precinct could look like have been revealed for the first time. The design for the $40 million facility features a 22-bed inpatient unit and common areas including healing gardens with therapeutic landscapes. Residents can have their say on the plans at 2 drop-in sessions at the hospital next week on Thursday and Saturday. Construction on the project is expected to start later this year, subject to necessary approvals. A mighty Angus is causing quite the stir among the state's cattle industry, setting a staggering new benchmark. The prized bull selling for more than $250,000 at auction, smashing the record books.
A big bull with an even bigger price tag.
Thanks so much, 275.
Uppercut packing a mighty punch, fetching an eye-watering $275,000.
Surreal, I reckon. It was well beyond our expectations.
Great result for Tasmania, great result for the breed.
The Prime Angus grabbing the auction by the horns, smashing the state's previous record of $240,000.
Next level again, so it'll take a bit of topping, this one.
Going well beyond the Cluedo-Newry stud benchmark.
The rest of the sale averaged a bit over $8,000, so it was well out of the box.
The prized bull closely watched, attracting attention from across the country.
Yeah, there's been a lot of people visiting, a lot of talk for a long time. It's the first time that a bull has sold with a semen contract in place in Australia.
Worth his weight in gold, his new owner came ready to splash some cash.
I can't recall ever seeing a bull bred like this in Australia. So he has an unparalleled data set.
Already feeling bullish about the future.
Every chance his genetics will be going to the US reasonably soon, and there's very strong interest from New Zealand. So two big markets.
Uppercut will remain on Tassie soil for at least the next month before heading to his new home in Victoria. There he'll start his next chapter of life and might even father a few record breakers himself.
Semen sales since the sale have been unreal, so hopefully the purchaser does well out of him too.
As for the stud's next shot at an incredible result.
Keep an eye out for the kids have named Voldemort next year, so keep an eye out for him.
Victoria Easto, 7 Tasmania News.
Many cancer sufferers aren't aware of the amount of free assistance available to them, according to Cancer Council Tasmania. The organisation holding an event to showcase the support services on offer at 3 of its offices around the state as part of Cancer Wellbeing Day.
Quite often people can be quite distressed when they come in, so we can't change the outcome, but we can change the way people are dealing with their situation.
Just to know when you've had this life change, to have people who care about you and who are kind and go out of their way is just a help.
Services include transport and emotional support, but also physical activities such as Pilates, Tai Chi and yoga. Aspiring seafarers starting to chart their futures have had a chance to chat with industry leaders at one of the sector's major job markets. The Australian Maritime College's Careers Expo providing pipelines to jobs on the water at its largest event yet.
Plotting a course from the classroom to a career at sea, the Australian Maritime College's annual Jobs Expo, a space for students to meet potential employers.
Also a great snapshot for young kids to have a look at the industry and sort of get some ideas of things they might not even have thought about.
And for industry leaders to net the next generation of maritime talent.
So we've met some really good people this morning and hopefully that translates for us in a handful of months.
Owen Spanswick, one such success story.
Growing up, I was always in and around boats, but never had any contacts in the maritime industry, really didn't know anyone at all.
Meeting his current employer, maritime engineering company Burden, at a past AMC Expo. The now graduate naval architect returning to exalt the networking opportunities of the event.
It's the only way that I found that I could really reach out to companies on a emotional and personal level. It wasn't just a CV to a drop box that kind of gets looked over.
A sentiment shared by final year logistics and management student Mia Findlay.
You can connect face to face with future employers and you really get to see what they offer.
This year's expo, the largest yet, with 60 stalls presenting different channels to future careers.
I'm not sure I can pick one that stands out. I think there's so many amazing businesses that have found themselves here today.
The organisation's also spoiled for choice.
The calibre of students coming through today was really quite good. We've had some great chats and I think it's going to be a good expo for everyone.
The people who come out of AMC have a spot with us for sure.
Helping young graduates navigate their way to future success. Tom Crosby, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania's love affair with online shopping is showing no sign of slowing down. New data revealing 85% of households made a purchase online in the past year, the highest nationally. Australia Post's latest e-commerce report crowning Launceston as the top spenders, followed by Devonport and Howrah. Online marketplaces, fashion, hobbies and recreational goods the most sought after.
With 5 wickets to his name from last night's comprehensive clean-out of New South Wales, Matt Kuhneman can't help pondering what could have been, having fallen just 1 win short of the final. Still, the former Queenslander feels his move south is paying off.
Very disappointed not in the final, but I think what we're growing down here is something really special, and I think the silverware and the shield isn't too far away.
Kuhneman's old team, the Bulls, play next week's final against South Australia at Karen Rolton Oval after the two sides settled for a draw yesterday in what turned out to be a rehearsal for the decider. Rachel Treneman was out camping and missed the call, saying she'd been named in the Australia A squad to play England at the end of the month. The Tassie opener will play the 4-day matches. But first it's off to Abu Dhabi for the Tigers' first international tour.
Abu Dhabi be a new experience. I think just for our group and as a whole, it'd be really exciting to see a couple of young girls step up and get that opportunity to play cricket in a different country.
Amy Smith, who's named to play Australia A's T20 and 1-day matches under the captaincy of Tigers teammate Heather Graham, feels the Australia A call-up is a chance to learn.
Seeing how they talk about their cricket, how they go prep for games, I think just those little things, how some of the best go about it is crucial, and then I can bring it back to Tassie.
Smith and Treneman both shone in an internal Cricket Australia 3-day match last week. Tassie weightlifters are finishing their final training sessions for this weekend's Masters State Championships and President's Cup. There's a spot at the National Championships online for those who can make the weight.
Quite confident in my ability because leading up to the last one I was dealing with a few niggly injuries and a few setbacks and stuff like that, but yeah, I'm ready to go now.
This is the first year that I'm taking it a lot more seriously rather than just having fun. We've done some of our opening numbers in training, so I'm going in there with high hopes that I'll hit it just as well, if not better, on the day.
The State Masters are Saturday at Invermays PCYC. Ulverston's Rain Smith makes his return for college side Louisville Cardinals just in time for the start of the NCAA Finals tournament on Friday. Rain hasn't seen any action since limping off the court a fortnight ago with an ankle injury.
I'm able to do form shooting and free throws and stuff like that every single day, and it's just kind of limiting as much as I can and just kind of let it rest and let it heal naturally, not try and force too much.
We're excited, and medical staff's done an unbelievable job. He's been working tirelessly on his rehab and his recovery, but he's going to be ready to go.
His return is stirring excitement amongst Cardinals fans in the US, having sunk 106 three-pointers from just 30 games this year.
Good evening. Hobart, Campania and King Island our top today, 27 degrees. Launceston 25, Devonport and Burnie 20. Temperatures sat above average today, some by up to 5 degrees. St Helens Grove and Ouse 26, Strawn 24, Flinders Island and Friendly Beaches 23, Smithton 22 and Lowhead 21. Almost cloud-free skies around the state today, just a little smoke from a fire over the far south, a bit creeping over the west coast late in the day. Low to mid-level cloud affects most of the North Island, along with Western Victoria and WA. Storms are over the tropics. For tomorrow, we'll have a cold front pushing right up to our west coast. Troughs continue over the continent. North to northwesterly winds up to 30 knots until mid-afternoon when the front introduces a southwesterly airstream at similar speeds. So we do have a strong wind warning for the inland lakes and for waters from St Helens Point to Stanley. Hobart 29 with a shower or two moving in, 28 for Cygnet, showers developing also for New Norfolk, 29 degrees, so a little bit muggy by the looks of that, 28 for Launceston, showers increasing over Devonport, a high of 24 and 27 the top for Campbelltown. Burnie expecting showers increasing later as well, 24, 25 for Strawn and 24 the top for Smithton. And St Helens, showers increasing as well, nothing misses out tomorrow, 28, 30 the top for Swansea and 27 the high for Fingal. On Friday, just isolated showers over the northeast, otherwise fine and partly cloudy. Possible showers on Saturday over the west and south, and on Sunday a mostly fine day with light winds. Sunny and 27 in Perth tomorrow, showers finally for Adelaide and increasing over Melbourne. A sunny day forecast for Sydney, 29 the top, and showers on the way for Brisbane. And still fine and clear here, 21 in Hobart, 21 in Launceston and 19 right now in Devonport. Wrapping up the weather for what's being touted as National Let's Laugh Day, Kim, reminding us to put a little bit of humour into our day, but I'm not buying into it.
I guess that means I only have to laugh at your jokes once a year, given that. That is all your news for now. I'll be back later with updates. Thanks for your company tonight. Good night.